welcome to the deep dive. Today we're zooming in on just one source,
That's right. It's excerpts from William Boericke's Homeopathic Materia Medica.
and we're looking specifically at the entry for Arum Dracontium, you might know it as Green Dragon. Our mission really is just to unpack what this specific book says about it. Its uses, the symptoms it lists, how Boericke presents it all.
Yeah, it's fascinating because a text like Boericke's isn't just a general description. Think of it more like a highly specific
A
catalog.
catalog, how so?
It lists substances, sure, but crucially, it links them to very, very precise symptom patterns, at least according to this system of thought.
Right, so understanding the text means seeing things through its particular lens.
Exactly, and that's what we're doing today.
Okay, so through that lens, what's the main thing Boericke lists Arum Dracontium for?
The headline use, according to this source, is pharyngitis, a sore throat.
But not just any sore throat, right? The text is specific.
Very specific. It says characterized as sore, raw, and tender. That specific feeling.
So that's the main takeaway.
That's the primary listed use, yeah. Then the rest of the entry really drills down into the details, the sort of constellation of symptoms that, in this text, points to this substance.
So let's break that down.
Yeah.
It lists symptoms by body part, starting with the head.
Right. For the head, the source mentions a heavy sensation, also shooting pains in the ears.
And it gets really specific about location, doesn't it?
It does. It notes an aching pain specifically behind the right ear.
That level of detail, even right or left side.
It's pretty characteristic of how symptoms often get laid out in these kinds of texts, looking for those very particular signs.
Okay. So moving down to the throat, which you said is the core focus here.
Yeah, for Arum Dracontium in the source, the throat description is quite vivid. It says dry, sore, and explicitly notes it's worse when swallowing.
Worse swallowing, okay. And raw, tender,
Raw and tender, yes. And it adds another interesting detail.
which is,
A continued disposition to clear the throat, like a constant urge.
okay. And it links that throat irritation to the breathing, the respiratory symptoms.
It does. The associated cough is described as croupy and hoarse, directly stemming from that sore throat feeling described earlier.
So it's building a picture.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The text connects these things, the specific throat pain, the urge to clear it, the type of cough. That's the syndrome picture, according to Boericke.
Now, here's where it seems to shift a bit. The urinary section.
What does it say there?
It lists an irresistible desire to pass urine and also burning and smarting sensations. That feels quite separate from a sore throat.
It does seem distinct, doesn't it? The source just lists it as another associated symptom.
Without drawing a direct line back to the throat.
Not explicitly in this entry, no. It highlights that within this framework, a remedy might be linked to a set of symptoms that, don't seem obviously connected, but together they form the unique pattern for this substance in this book.
Got it. Okay, back to respiratory then. Beyond the hoarseness.
It also mentions excess mucus in the larynx and adds that the condition can be asthmatic, particularly at night. The expectoration, the stuff coughed up, is described as thick and heavy.
So more details fleshing out that respiratory picture.
Exactly. According to this text, those details complete the picture associated with Arum Dracontium.
Then there's this relationship section. It mentions other arum plants, right? Arum metallic.
Yes, Arum metallicum is linked here to brain fag with a headache in the back of the head, the occipital region.
And arum maculatum.
That one's connected to inflammation and ulceration of mucous membranes. It specifically notes nasal irritation with polypus.
So why include these? Why list related remedies?
Well, that relationship section is actually pretty important for how you use a text like this. It's Boericke's way of cross-referencing.
And differentiating.
Exactly. Especially for plants in the same family, like these arums, it helps someone see, okay, Italicum might have this specific headache profile, maculatum might be more about nasal issues or general mucous membrane stuff.
While Dracontium, in this source, is really keyed into that specific sore throat picture we discussed.
Precisely. It guides the user towards the most precise match based on the symptoms detailed in this book. It's about nuance.
Makes sense. It's all about navigating the details within this source. And finally, it lists a dose.
Just briefly, it recommends the first potency,
First potency.
which in the context of this text just suggests as a starting point. It indicates a relatively less diluted preparation compared to some of the higher potencies you might see mentioned elsewhere.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Taking this deep dive into just this one entry, Boericke's Arum Dracontium. What does it really show you? the listener?
I think it shows how this particular materia medica works. You see the intense focus on specifics.
Yeah, the quality of pain, the side of the head, that exact throat feeling.
Right, even those urinary symptoms that seem a bit separate. And it shows how sections like relationship are used to build this unique picture for each substance.
Helping users find the specific pattern described in the book.
It really throws a spotlight on the method. Detailed observation and symptom matching that underpins this kind of text.
So we've seen Boericke's picture of Arum Dracontinum, primarily for that specific pharyngitis, with its linked symptoms in the head, throat, urinary, respiratory systems, and how it relates it to its cousins.
Yeah, it's quite a detailed snapshot from this one source.
It leaves us with a thought, give me something for you to consider, based purely on what we saw in Boericke today. Given that extreme specificity, the focus on tiny details in a text like this, how does that very focus shape the way someone might think about or use the information presented, strictly staying within the world of this source material? Something to mull over.